Let's start with the international outcry over Israel's treatment of protesters against the war in Gaza. A group of more than 400 activists were arrested at a port in southern Israel after the Navy intercepted their flotilla in international waters. Deportation proceedings are due to begin soon. In a video shared by Israel's far-right National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, he is seen heckling the activists while they are roughly handled and forced to kneel in stress positions. The activists accuse the Israeli forces of violent conduct and psychological torment. Dozens have suspected rib fractures and breathing difficulties. The US, the UK, France, Italy and Canada are among the countries to express outrage. Even Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Ben-Gvir's actions are not in line with Israel's values. Well, British citizen Malcolm Dacre, who is a 73-year-old RAF veteran, was part of the flotilla and has been detained in Israel. His daughter Claire spoke to my colleague Justin Webb.
Those horrible clips of them having their heads forced down to the concrete with their hands tied behind their backs. I think I've spotted my father with his hand tied behind his neck because I don't think he could get them behind his back. He's 72 and they're in an extreme stress position, and you see them being yelled at, loud music being played. So that's all we know. We know they've been taken to Ketziot prison, but otherwise we're completely in the dark, as everyone else is, even the FCDO it seems.
When he went, did he talk to you about what might be expected to happen to him and to the others?
So my father was actually on the flotilla that went in October. And so we have the full picture of what happened to him in October. But this is indeed an escalation of extreme violence. I've just read a report from the Israeli lawyers that are on the ground saying that they have had reports of extreme violence. Some have had to go to hospital. There are broken ribs. People are having difficulty breathing. And that there have been reports also of sexual violence and women having their clothes forcibly removed. This is, it was awful last time, but this seems to be another level.
So why would Ben-Gvir share this video, and what are the potential consequences domestically? I've been speaking to our international editor, Jeremy Bowen.
Ben-Gvir is a man with a long history of espousing ultra-Jewish Israeli nationalist views. In the past, before he was an elected politician, he was convicted of, among other things, incitement to terrorism and membership of a terrorist organization, a Jewish terrorist organization. He's someone who delights in this kind of stuff. And as well as supervising what was going on with those activists and glorying in it, he's also someone who has presided over the fact that, as an example, that Jewish settlers in the occupied West Bank basically can pretty much do what they want without a great deal of legal redress. Now, in a sense, that's often been the case in the past, but it's really got out of control during the time that he has been Minister of National Security, which is the man who is responsible for the police force, the paramilitary police, who are called the border police. And he's, he's someone who takes very, very hardline positions. He believes, for example, that Palestinians should basically be booted out.
He has political power and leverage, though, as well, Jeremy, doesn't he? Because he has these crucial seats that Benjamin Netanyahu needs to hold his coalition together.
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu, and also the foreign minister and others are, they're clearly embarrassed somewhat by his behavior because it doesn't look good internationally. But he's someone whose votes of his small party are part of Netanyahu's coalition. And he's got a powerful position in return for those votes. And while Mr. Netanyahu may not like, he says he's not in accordance with Israel's norms, the fact is, he's not going to get sacked over this.
In terms of the flotilla, Jeremy, they say they were bringing aid to Gaza. Israel says that people inside Gaza don't need that aid. What is the picture there at the moment?
Well, they probably didn't need the aid that was coming in, what was a symbolic convoy by these activists, this attempt to breach the blockade, which I think they pretty much knew they would get arrested at some point and intercepted. I mean, that was almost clearly for them, that's part of the process. What they do need is a proper aid organization organized by the United Nations and by international NGOs to bring them the stuff that they need, which they're not getting right now.
And in terms of what seems to be growing international criticism of Israel at the moment, Jeremy, on lots of different levels, do you see domestically within Israel that making any kind of difference?
To a small percentage of the population, but generally speaking, the polls show that Israel's treatment of Gaza has been, is approved of, and that there is very little concern among the Jewish population of Israel, which is 80% of the population, about the suffering in Gaza, because they would argue that those people have brought it on upon themselves, that Israel has no option other than to take harsh measures because of the damage done on the 7th of October and their determination for something like that not to happen again.
Jeremy Bowen there.